So, with Avatar The Seven Havens releasing shortly, I've been thinking of where these seven havens could be, and I've come up with a few potential ideas. Zaofu. I think it would be a really wasted opportunity not to, alongside the fact that, well, yes, Zaofu was infiltrated in Legend of Korra. That was because they had inside knowledge paired with the fact that the infiltrators were some of the best benders at their craft. Even Zahir, who only had airbending for weeks, as demonstrated when he was able to glide through those doors with such ease. It would also just be really cool to see the metal bending city again. I know most of the populace won't be able to bend in the future, but still, it'll be neat. And they might have records of back when the Avatar was trustworthy and know some stuff that others don't know. Plus, I'd really like to see hints towards what happened to Kuvira outside of the comics, what we get in the comics. Omashu or the Siwong Desert. These are locations which are used in the other shows, and they have similar terrain to the sneak peek, in my opinion. Furthermore, I think it would just be a mighty shame not to use them again. Maybe the very first spirit of great importance that Avatar Pavi and her allies encounter will be Wan Shi Tong. Sorry, it took me a minute to remember his name. Kind of like how the Avatar continues to meet certain spirits over their many lifetimes, like Ko the Face Stealer, or Vatu. It'd also just be really neat because I would really like it if Wan Shi Ton went from being an antagonistic force to not necessarily, I wouldn't say it was ever necessarily a force for bad, but a force that now aids the Avatar because he knows what actually happened due to his extensive knowledge. And thus he's like, oh no, Korra's not actually the person who destroyed the world, and gives a vague hint. We know it's going to be a mystery box show, and let's be honest here, it's not going to be Korra. The writers, they're not going to do that, okay? It's just something else almost certainly happened. The Fire Nation capital. I just really like this to happen because we know for a fact that the Fire Nation capitals are positioned around volcanoes, which could allow for some level of defense in that form, or for it to be really destroyed and them to now have erected walls similar to what Ba Sing Se had in Avatar: Last Airbender. And that's the other reason. I just kind of like to see something similar, a version of Ba Sing Se, but Fire Nation edition. The Northern and Southern Water Tribes, except they're now gone. However, while some have become nomadic because of the spirit portals being around here, others, and the spirits being unstable now, others have built an underground city, kind of like Atlantis. I'd really like to see an underwater city, which is Avatar Edition. Republic City. Okay, so I don't doubt that Republic City might be the center epidemic of whatever happened here, tied to the third spirit portal, but in that same breath, why introduce that concept in Legend of Korra just to do away with it one generation later? Something the Avatar writers have set up through the novels and comics, in my opinion, is that they're going to be continuing these things over generations. We're getting to witness the build and rise of these nations. So I don't think they'll have gotten rid of Republic City right away. Furthermore, the third spirit portal is there. Humans could have gathered around it. Heck, we might even get to meet some good spirits, or spirits that are aiding humans but may not necessarily be aiding the Avatar. The air temples. I think one of the air temples will remain. I hope it's one that's less known, like the West Air Temple. In fact, there could be earthbenders there as well, expanding the city using the earthbending. Of course, again, earthbenders are rare in this era according to the promo. So I don't know, but I'd really like a cybertronic version of the air temples with trains going all over the show, and there being a bunch of airbenders there to act as a sort of protection alongside them having set up base there, because historically they were very spiritually powerful as a nation, and so now they stay there in the hopes that the spirits will show them favor through practicing the same things that the spirits once did, that they once did for the spirits. And of course, a lion turtle. There's one remaining lion turtle. This is the lion turtle which taught Aang energy bending, and I'd love it if this lion turtle ended up being one of the seven havens. And more than that, if this lion turtle was one of the reasons why they'd ultimately turn back to the side of the Avatar. One of the reasons why humanity and the spirits would realize that the Avatar isn't bad, that the Avatar is a savior. Because, as I've made very clear, whatever happened, it wasn't Korra's fault, and nearly everyone's been lied to. That I'm certain of. I know I haven't said 7 different locations, but I'm certain that at least 1 or 2 of them will be unknowns until the show comes out. That they're purposefully obscurating that information because they want to surprise us. And as much as I would love for Avatar Kyoshi's Island to be one of the places, I doubt it's still around. I think it was still around in Legend of Korra, but after the whole cataclysmic disaster, it's probably gone. In fact, Avatar Korra could destroy an island, that island being Yangchen's Island. There's a very real likelihood that's what Korra did to Kyoshi Island. Whatever happened, it had a huge death toll. And I suspect the Kyoshi warriors were unfortunately among their number. Yeah, that was pretty grim, but I hope you liked listening to my theories on where the Seven Havens could be. I'm hoping to release another video about the Seven Havens, about potential spiritual allies and the different ways they could take them, such as the idea that Uncle Iroh could be introduced, but this time as a spirit, living up to his Dragon of the West moniker, and Princess Yui's return and what that could signal for Pavi, but I'll be doing that in another video, so please subscribe and stay tuned for that fairy video.